do in fact think that Nietzsche was a nihilist. Now, it's true that his work contains many references to nihilism, but only in the sense of denying traditional belief systems or traditional religious values such as Christianity that have been gripping Western culture for thousands of years. And what Nietzsche thinks is that if we have no ultimate point of reference, if there no longer is a value whereby we all strive toward, a value that transcends all finite things, that is when nihilism will be most realized. And this is his death of God statement, which by the fact is not a celebratory statement. It's more of a warning that if we do not reevaluate all of our values, we are going to face a collapse of all values. There will be nothing of value anymore. There's no ultimate point of reference whereby we direct our passions, our affections, and our attention. So what he thinks is we have to become gods of our own. We have to create our own values, and this is ultimately done through becoming the Übermensch, the Superman. And this is a man that would transcend all political and religious dogma. It would be a human being deeply entrenched in culture, in becoming great, and again, surpassing all political, social, and religious dogma, just completely ignoring that, rejecting that. You know, he says, looking away shall be my only negation, to just becoming this cultured, strong individual that's solely focused on creating and being active within oneself, actualizing greatness, essentially. So when someone says that Nietzsche was a nihilist, you can just remind them that that's a very impoverished reading of his work, because his work is really about overcoming nihilism, and he sees this as something inevitable with the death of God. And remember, the death of God is not a metaphysical speculation. Nietzsche's not saying God is literally dead. It's a cultural diagnosis. You know, we've never had a purely secular society. But Nietzsche noticed, he was smart enough to predict this too, that as time goes on, people are going to start not really believing in God. That culture is going to take a different turn, that we're not really going to orient ourselves toward this Christian narrative. And he saw it as slowly eroding away, and eventually it will become so degraded, this idea of the Christian God, that all of the values will be thrown out with it, essentially, and we won't have any more values. There will be no ultimate point of reference again. So he was only a nihilist in the sense that he recognized traditional Christian morality, traditional Christian values and belief systems fading away with the death of God. But outside of that, Nietzsche loved culture, he loved creativity, he loved independence, loved overcoming that political and religious dogma, reverting back to greatness, a love for the earth. So, for Nietzsche, he sees when we try to reject this world for a better world, we talk about otherworldly hopes, he sees that as nihilistic, that we're robbing our lives of meaning by thinking about these other worlds, by thinking about the afterlife and God. However, he thinks when we totally reject God, that we reject the totality of all meaning and value. And that's full-fledged nihilism. So he says, what do we do? How the hell do we overcome this? And this is where, again, the Übermensch comes in. And Nietzsche's philosophy is all about combating nihilism. He is not a nihilist in the conventional usage of the term.